What's claimed as a masterpiece by the whole world, but you don't just get why. If you're not sorting this by controversial, you're not getting the opinions this question was meant for. The Mona Lisa isn't even the most interesting piece by Da Vinci. And Da Vinci's best work weren't his paintings. In this thread, people ignoring the question and just saying stuff they don't like. Lil Sebastian. I don't get it, at all. I mean, he's kind of a small horse. The film Breakfast at Tiffany's. The first time I watched it I didn't get it. I felt like something was missing. Then I read the book and whoa, a lot is missing. Add the Mickey Rooney character and the whole thing becomes unwatchable. Great question. You, ass in my sock. I'd say James Joyce's Ulysses. It's poetic at times, has quotable lines throughout, and was undoubtedly revolutionary in its style. But goddamn, it is impenetrable for vast passages, filled with archaic references, which I don't think are particularly clever, and is just way too long. Stream of conscious wordplay, free association, and outright rambling gets old pretty quick. Who has most successfully milked what should have been 15 minutes of fame? Probably Jared from Subway. I believe someone at his university wrote a story about his unusual method of weight loss, which was then picked up by national news outlets. Then Subway put him in an ad that was unusually successful, which ended up leading to 15 years of being the face of their brand internationally. Then things went downhill pretty fast from there. That salt sprinkling prick. That convict with the blue eyes or whatever. Dr. Phil. In 1995, Oprah Winfrey hired Phil McGraw's legal consulting firm to prepare for the Amarillo, Texas beef trial. Winfrey was so impressed with him that she thanked him for her victory in that case, which ended in 1998. Soon after, she invited him to appear on her show, which turned into a recurring segment. He turned that into his own show and now 25 years in the spotlight. William Hung, https://www.youtube.com/watch V equals PXO Curious FDQ, stuck around a good while. Bod Baby, aka Danielle Peskowitz Brigoli. Cash me outside. How about that? Quote, one episode on Dr. Phil, where he intended to exploit her and trash her on live TV. She just proved. Receipts for $52 million on OnlyFans and bought a house in Florida for $6.1 million cash. Hate all you want. But I challenge anyone to do better quicker. Face with spiral eyes. Edit. Just to add, since this answer blew up beyond belief, I added those two figures in just as an icing with a cherry on top cap. Not to imply that is her sole source of income. She is making money other places and ways besides OnlyFans like music and YouTube. She is currently 20 years old. Which well-known song is commonly perceived as cheerful, but actually has darker undertones? Most songs by barenaked ladies sound happy but are typically about dysfunctional relationships. Copacabana starts off innocently enough, but quickly devolves into a tragic tale of lost love and a showdancer's inability to move on as she winds up a depressed alcoholic. 99 Luftballons is about nuclear Armageddon. Forever Young is about nuclear Armageddon. And You'll Never Guess What I Melt With You is about. It's nuclear Armageddon. The Macarena is about a woman cheating on her boyfriend while he's conscripted. Which is less bad, but still probably not something that should have been taught to every 90s kid. For any Aussies, am I ever gonna see your face again? Quote, an iconic Aussie classic that crowds must respond to the main line with, no way, get fucked. Fuck off. Quote. The song is a true story about losing his girlfriend in a car crash. The riff represents the ambulance wail as it heads to the scene of the accident that killed her. I think the guitarist wrote it After crowds responded with the now customary callback, the band were unsure about whether to play it out of respect. You Are My Sunshine. People tend to just sing the chorus, and ignore the verse. Born in the USA, Springsteen. What's the most bizarre way you found out that your so is cheating, not totally being honest to you? My ex lived in an apartment 15 miles away. The night in question at approximately 1 a.m., a neighbor of hers accidentally fired a round while cleaning his gun. The bullet went through their mutually shared wall, through another, and lodged in her refrigerator. The cops were called by another neighbor and she ended up with a police report and stuff. I ended up reading the police report and it mentioned her and a guy's name I didn't know were reported in bed at her place at the time of the accidental discharge. She confessed right there she had a fuck buddy. 1.5 years relationship down the drain. His mom told me. My auntie heard from her hairstylist that her husband was cheating on her. She found the address of the affair partner and went on Google Earth. Her husband's truck was in the driveway when Google Earth had taken the picture. We lived together and one of the rooms worked as an office space with a shared gaming PC. Each had our own laptop otherwise. One of the things we used to do was to leave open tabs with interesting news or articles for the other to read. I went to check something on the PC and turns out he forgot to close his WhatsApp online on one of the tabs. First conversation was to an old classmate of his, who he recently reconnected as friends. I wish I had you in my arms right now. He was in the bathroom. We just have been talking and he was saying I was the love of his life. And 5 minutes later he was texting another girl telling her how much he loves her. Previous to that I spent months asking if everything was okay and that something was off in our relationship. And was treated as crazy and a bad girlfriend for even thinking that he might have met someone else. Edit. Changed live for leave. One time when I knew my ex was cheating and I was trying to get him to admit it so I could break up with him, he started sending screenshots of our texts to show me how crazy I was being. One of those screenshots had the little box at the bottom of the text chat of his camera roll open, I guess, while he was sending me the screenshots. There was a picture of another girl, pics of him at her house, etc. I actually laughed out loud when I saw it, something about him trying to convince me I'm insane, while simultaneously sending me evidence by accident was weirdly hilarious. My fiancée got drunk one night and started talking about how much she enjoyed the sex we had last night. I was working last night. What's an expression that people say that makes no sense in your head? Head over heels. Isn't your head always over you heels? More X than you can shake a stick at. Did people used to shake sticks at large numbers of things? Easy as pie. Asterisk. Making pie is a pain in the goddamn ass. Shit-eating grin. Like what? Question mark. Question mark. You are the apple of my eye. Apparently it means you mean a lot to them. How does it translate? I have no idea. I don't understand why people say they slept like a baby. If you say that, I'm assuming you woke up every 2 hours and shit the bed. If you had a time machine, to which year in the past would you travel for one day? Oh man, sure, it's July 18, 2010, when Bitcoin's lowest price was 5 cents. Who's up for the journey? I asked a class of students this question once. The first student answered that he'd like to go and witness his own birth. I thought that was a pretty cool answer. Then the next student said he'd also like to go back to see the first student's birth. All the subsequent students said the same. So some poor woman in like 2006 had to have 24 schoolkids gawking at her in the delivery room while trying to do the already monumentally difficult task of giving birth. Sorry about that, ma'am. 1956. To meet my grandpa. He died well before I was born, and he was the only grandparent I never met. As for the year, I settled on it because that's when he was my age. The 50s were also an interesting time. Sometime in the summer of 1996 or 1997. When things were okay for me. Just to feel that one last time. One day before the time machine was patented. Pompeii the day before Vesuvius erupted. It would feel so great to save Kit Harington from sudden destruction. Subscribe, my brothers.